Hello, everyone. We're just gonna hop on. We're not gonna wait for anybody. So, um, for anybody who's new to me doing this, this is my mom life chat where we talk to other moms in the group so that we could feel like we're not alone and don't feel like you have to say everything perfectly because if there's anything like self-care or like whatever that's not right, tell us the truth because we're here to feel like we could connect with people. Like if my house is messy and your house is messy, I'm like, yes, yes. And then that's how me and you are like on the same page. So everybody, this is Liz. I met her through my mom's club and I thought she was the perfect person to have on this week
Aw.
because we are like in the trenches right now, me and you, and we just like bonded and I feel like you're my good friend now. So we're gonna go through our list of questions and
I have it right here too.
yay, get to know Liz and then we can make friends and all the good stuff. So first question, tell us a little bit about you, just the basics and your kids and just the basics.
All right. Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. My name is Liz. I was just telling Jenny my maiden name was Wilson. Now I go by Goddard because I'm married. And I am a mommy of two little boys. One is 4 and the other is 2 turning 3 next month. So they're 16 months apart, so super close, which is really nice. It's getting to be really nice now because they're, super close and good friends, which I love. But yeah, so those are the basics. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but I've been living in California now since 2008. So it's going on 13 years out here.
How'd you guys end up here from Pennsylvania?
So actually, well, my husband is from here. He grew up here. I went to Penn State for hotel, restaurant, institutional management. And then I got a job right out of school for the Four Seasons. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, the hotel company and restaurants. And I accepted the position and it said, welcome to Four Seasons Westlake Village. And I had to Google Westlake Village. I had no idea like where I was even going. And it was Westlake Village, California. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I always wanted to go to California. So I just up and moved thinking I would eventually maybe make my way back to Pennsylvania. And I never did because I started in Westlake Village and then I got transferred into Beverly Hills.
Oh,
it's actually the Pretty Woman Hotels where I worked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I was in the restaurants and the room service, and then I got transferred. I applied for a transfer to engineering department. So I worked in the engineering department for 5 years. That's where I met my husband. Came to work on the chillers.
You're like, hey.
And so I met him there. Yeah, and then we started dating, and then once we got married and had kids, I thought, oh, I guess I'm staying in California.
Oh my gosh. And your family's still all out there?
Yeah, my whole family is there.
Aw.
It's been okay. I was going back almost every year, even sometimes 2 times. And then my parents were coming out here for extended periods of time. And it was all good up until like COVID, because now I haven't gotten to see them as much.
Well, that's like for everybody. So it's not like just some random thing for you at least. At least everybody's suffering in that together.
So eventually they'll get to come out and visit.
Yeah. Okay. So first question is about self-care, because I feel like with moms, like that's like the most important thing is taking care of us, that we could take care of the kids too. Yeah. So what do you do if you do it? How often? Like how much time do you set aside?
So self-care is definitely important. Like you always say, and like I love that you always want to talk about this and you bring it up a lot. And I think you had a speaker before talk about self-care and kind of like say that self-care doesn't have to be like a whole day of pampering at the spa. It could be 10 minutes of alone time, or take it where you can get it. So I don't always have a chance to do self-care, even though like my kids are in school on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I think, oh cool, a day to myself, but it turns out to be like everything on the house. So sometimes I have to almost force myself to say, okay, Elizabeth, you need to like go lay down, even if it's just laying in my bed and playing on my phone. To me, that's like my alone time. Because when I get home from dropping the kids off, sometimes I go right into dishes or laundry, and then the whole day has gone by and before I know it, my husband's home, and then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't spend any time by myself.
The
So like
time goes by so fast.
it's like a black hole. I'm just like,
Yeah, yes, it is.
but things have been shut down, but I just got an email from one of the places I've gone to for like massage. I love massage facial. To me, getting a massage or a facial or getting my nails done or my hair cut is really like relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been hard during COVID because things have been shut down, but I just got an email saying that the place I like to go for like a massage is open again.
Nice.
So I'm going to make an appointment for that next
Awesome.
week. So I'm hoping that everything stays the same with opening again.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's like the ultimate pamper. But
Heck yeah.
but even if it's just like a 10 to 15 minutes by myself without the kids constantly, that to me is nice self-care. Like we went camping this last weekend and my husband went out with some friends out in the desert, and I had to stay back with my little one.
Mm-hmm.
And my father-in-law was taking care of my older son, and he came back around with my older son and he said, you want me to take Owen off your hands for a little while? And I was like, yes, okay. So he takes both my boys. I'm in the camper by myself, and the other friends that were camping across from us, she texted me, are you in your camper by yourself? Like, do you want to come over and hang out? And she had 3 little kids in her kids. And I was like, no. I was like, thank you for the invitation, but I just want to spend this alone time by myself. So
yeah. Sometimes even if like just that one kid gone, especially for you because you have 2 boys. So I feel like that just stepped it up a notch for just how hard it is. So like I feel like if I just have one kid, that makes it just a little bit easier. But you're right, just getting that 10 minutes in, it like you like having to shift from like pre-kids and getting like that all that time to going to 10 minutes. That's hard. I just learned that from Martina, who was in here talking. Yeah.
Before kids, I am the type where I relished in my alone time. Like I was very independent. Like I would go places by myself. I was okay with that. And so I was really used to having alone time. I had an apartment all by myself. Well, we were dating then, but he'd come over like 2-3 times a week. But all the other days, I would just go home and do my own thing, binge watch my Netflix or whatever. So going from like before kids to like having kids 24/7 like at you
and staying
just
home.
like just those 5 to 10 minutes make like huge.
Yeah, you need it. Is your husband like supportive? Like if you're like, hey, I'm gonna go get a massage.
Oh yeah. So like recently he's like, when are you gonna get your nails done?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, well, before he'd be like, you need to paint them. And I was like, I'm doing dishes. I'm changing diapers. Like my younger one's still not potty trained. So I was like, once I do my nails, he's like, well, why don't you buy some gel nail polish? And I was like, I'd rather just go and have someone do it. And he's like, well, then go have someone do it. And I was like, he must really want my nails done. So
because I feel like just you're using your hands so much, like laundry, dishes, like everything you're doing is using your hands, and they get like worn out fast.
Oh yeah, mine immediately. If I do my nails within an hour, they're smudged. So I'd rather just go get the gel at a professional place and call it a day. Because then
if you get the gel for your house, it makes such a huge difference. It stays on so much longer, and then it's instantly dry.
Yeah,
I love it. I have the set. My dad got it for me at an auction. Just like he didn't know what he was even buying. He was like, "Oh, nail polish," and I'm like, "Dad, this is the greatest thing ever." He's like, "Oh, cool." He thought I just said that. And I was like 3 years later, I'm like, Dad, this is seriously. He's like, oh, really? I'm like, it took me 3 years for like him to convince him that it was the greatest thing ever.
That's awesome. That's an awesome gift, Dad. Way to go.
So if you ever really want to buy them for your house, then it is good. I like it. Okay. So entertaining the kids. So like, how much time do you spend with them one-on-one? What kind of activities do you do? Like play dates and just all the things kids in one-on-one time or entertainment.
So like pre-COVID, and I even went with you when I first joined Mom's Club, was like indoor playgrounds I loved going to.
Yes.
And
that's where we met for the first time.
I know. Right? That was so fun. Yeah. So like they did reopen, but it's just different now. So I haven't taken them back as much. So like now that we've a lot of home, so our backyard is semi-kid friendly, but I have a ton of like outdoor toys. And then a friend of mine moved and she needed to get rid of her playground. So they actually gifted us a playground that was
Nice.
relatively new in
Wow.
our yard. So it's got like a swing, a seesaw, two swings and a seesaw, and then it's got a slide and a little house. So like the kids love going outside. My older son just got a bike for his birthday. And then my little one still kind of does the strider, but so if we're home, so if they're not in school, I take them outside. I try my best at least once a day. An hour is like my breaking point. After an hour, I'm like, okay, we got to go inside because they're constantly, so like with the stuff on the playground, they're like, mommy, push us, I want to swing. Or like my little one gets frustrated and he's like on his bike and he wants me to do it. If they get in like a ride-on toy, they want me to push them. So like after an hour, I'm spent. But the cool thing is, like, my neighbor Cindy, I have right next door. And like the other day we were chatting and her girls were out there and then my son came out and it was like an impromptu play date in our backyard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Can you see into her backyard?
Oh yeah. Our backyards are right next. Well, right now we have a fence where you can kind of see in, but there's still a fence there where you can't. Well, in the back you can kind of see in, but like they were out on the side of the house and we were chatting, but yeah, so they're right there. It's so nice to have kids right next door that are my kids' ages.
And someone who's nice and like your age and like like your friend now, right?
Yeah. It's perfect. So like we couldn't have asked for better neighbors. So that's really cool.
You get a play date and you get mom time, somebody to talk to.
It's awesome. So like one-on-one time is really hard. But my younger son does still go for naps sometimes. So in that time, I get one-on-one with my older son. With my younger son, I don't get as much one-on-one time, but I take it where I can get it. Like you said earlier, if like my husband takes one of them and I have the other, that's always nice. But one-on-one time is kind of difficult. Sometimes they get one-on-one time, but it's not
to like sit and stop and be like, okay, let's play.
Yeah,
I feel like that's hard for me.
It is.
There's so much stuff to do. I feel like the house, the mess is like talking to me, and I'm like, okay, guys, I can't.
Your house probably isn't even that messy. Mine is a disaster. Like I had to angle the computer so that you can only see the wall and not like the mess.
One day if I get guts, I'll turn my camera around and you can see. Okay. Okay. Managing your meals. Okay, this for me, this one is like, I'm not doing dinner because unless it's like stir fry and I just throw everything in this one pot or crock pot or Instapot or. So what do you do? Like, what's your favorite go-to meal? Like, what do your kids like for lunch? Like, I need to know all of these things.
I know. And that is the hard one because I think we all struggle with, oh my God, what's for dinner? And we also struggle with, what am I going to feed the kids? Because like for me, and I don't know about you, well, I think it sounds like your kids are pretty good because you're vegan and you feed them a lot of veggies, right? Or
well, then they end up eating a lot of carbs.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my kids, my older son, Ethan, he loves bread and stuff. So that is really hard. So for my husband and I started Every Plate, which is like the meals that come to your door. I did it about a year ago, right before the pandemic hit. And it was like a lifesaver because it would be a box of meals that I pick. And they do have some vegetarian options on there too. But it comes to your door with all the stuff. You still have to cut and chop and do all the stuff. But that was like really nice because when dinner time rolled around, or even like an hour or two before, I'd be like, hey, pick between these 3 or 4 dishes. And that was so nice to have. We still do it. I've been skipping a couple weeks lately, and I might stop it because I kept all my recipes. So it's kind of easy to create them. So I love that. I love having it come to your house. I think there's a kid option, but see, the kids don't eat it. So I still have to make separate stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
The kids are hard. So the kids, I swear they could eat mac and cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My younger one's a little more open to things. My older one is so picky, and it takes forever just to get him to try something new or like a bite of something. So like, we have to like, I don't know. It's almost like we have to like bribe him. Like, if you eat this, you'll get a cookie after, which is
Yeah.
terrible, right?
And then
You
it's
don't
like, what's even the point? Like, you should have just had mac and cheese.
right? But that's the only thing that works. So
Yeah.
lately he has been trying chicken. Like, he tried chicken and he said, I like it. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. I know you don't eat meat and stuff,
Yeah,
but like,
I know. But my kids will take naps.
yeah. So like, my older son, like, so he's a carb loader. He would eat hot, like mac and cheese and like grilled cheese, and just like they literally could eat bowls of cheese. I'm like, no. But my little guy's a little more open. He'll eat more of the stuff we're eating. He'll eat veggies, which is amazing.
Oh, that's good.
And he eats fruits. But the kid part is hard. So like Ethan just started liking, he liked it, then he didn't like it. Now he likes it SpaghettiOs, which is an easier one.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Probably not the best thing for them, but it's like kid food is very hard.
Okay. Oh my gosh,
so,
it's like the hardest thing ever.
But for another thing that I've been doing now that I just got into, and I actually wanted to show you guys, is freezer meals. I signed up. My Facebook showed, join us for a free class on freezer meals. So I did the class, and then I bought the lifetime membership. Mm-hmm. So I'm on this website called the Family Freezer. Mm-hmm. And so I watched the whole video. So I got these on Amazon. So they actually collapse like this, but you can stand them up. And this is how you use them. You stand them up and they go like this. And then you take your bag. So you can just use a regular Ziploc bag, which I have used, but I'm also bought, these are reusable bags.
Oh, the silicone ones?
Yeah. So you can wash them and use them again.
Mm-hmm.
So you stick it in here like this, and then you stick this in here like this. So your bag stands up.
Oh, nice. And then you can pour it in.
So then you get your recipe. So like, I know this is Sloppy Joe's. I did a Sloppy Joe recipe. So the way the website works is like I can print off my recipe, but I can also you can actually also print off a grocery list so you know what to get at the store. And you take your ingredients and your cans or your whatever beans or whatever, you just dump them in. And then you can make like a label or dry erase or whatever sticker, and you just put the date you made it, and it lasts up to 3 months in your freezer.
So you mix it, but you don't cook it.
Right. So you mix it all raw. You stick it all in here raw.
Oh.
And you can do as many as you want. I have 6 of these. So I could line up 6 and just do 6 freezer meals, zip them up, put them in the freezer, and then I have all these frozen meals on hand.
Nice.
So I just started that. So like the other week I did a couple honey sesame chickens and a couple Sloppy Joes. Mm-hmm. And then the day of, I pulled out a bag, I put it in like a bowl of hot water. And then when it was thawed a little bit, I opened it up, I dumped it into my crock pot, and then dinner was ready.
So everything on that website is just stuff to do like that. Stuff that you can make like that.
Yeah.
Like
so they
put
have
it all together.
Yeah. So they have all different categories. So they probably have a vegan, vegetarian type category. You could even just type in like chicken and it would tell you like chicken recipes. She even, like the lady who did it, she has like 5 kids. Mm-hmm. And she said when she had 2, she was like pulling her hair out with dinner every night, just like we all do. Yeah. And that's how she like stumbled upon this idea. And so she's made this her like business. And wow. It's called the Family Freezer. And so I have access to the website because I watched this video and I was like, I've been wanting to do freezer meals, but then watching that video and signing up for it, I'm like, this is like a game changer, because if I could just have ready meals in my freezer, then I'm not pulling my hair out every day. Oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner?
That is so smart. Like, I love people who like have a problem and then they make a business out of it. I'm like, I have a problem, and then I'm like, I'm not cooking. So
have those nights too, and we do takeout every once in a while. The nights I'm like, I'm too tired, my husband comes home late, because sometimes it's hard like with the kids here to even prep. So like sometimes I wait till he gets home to even start prepping, because like you and I talked about just having the kids in the kitchen with you at your legs or by the hot stove, and you're like, don't get burned. So
and they know that you're like focused on something, so then that makes them cry.
And that wants them to be right next to you, and you're like, you burn yourself.
All of a sudden, like they were playing, and now they want you to hold them because they know that you need to cook.
And I'm constantly like, out of the kitchen, out of the kitchen. Yeah. And I feel bad, but then I'm like, Mommy can't. Like, I need to do this. But so freezer meals is my new exciting.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I need to write that down. because
Yeah.
that is like maybe something I could get into.
And
tell me if they have vegan options on there.
I'm going to go on after we're talking. I'm going to look at their vegan options, and I can even email you some recipes and stuff.
Well, yeah, I could buy it, but I'm curious. Like, I don't want to buy it unless they have vegan options.
No, yeah, I want to see, because I'm not vegan, so I didn't like specifically look at that category. But yeah, I'll see what they got. But yeah, these are amazing. I got these on Amazon.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. So
I didn't even know. There's so much cool stuff now. It's like the internet. You can find anything now.
Oh, I know.
Okay. The next important thing is spending time with our spouse.
Okay.
I'm bad at that too. I'm bad at all of these. That's why I need to do these so I can get all the information. So date night.
I know. Which is another struggle, right? Because all of these things you have mentioned and brought up, I think we all struggle with, because it's like, how do you find time for anything with kids? Like, kids take over your time. Mm-hmm. So we don't get that much time together. So like today, the kids are at school. So a lot of the days, and not a lot of people have this option though. Their kids aren't at preschool or in school right now because of everything. But like the little bits of time, if he is home early on a day where the kids are at school, we have that time and the house is quiet.
Well, that's cool. Like right now, and then I took the time. Now
No. So actually he called me on the way home, and he was home, I want to say closer to 2. So we had a whole hour and a half. In fact, he left even before we got on yet, because he had things he wanted to do on the yard and the garage. So sometimes that's the only time we get. Mm-hmm. At night is hard because my son still wants me to like lay down with him, and I think a lot of other mamas like to lay down with their kids, or their kids are like, please lay down with me. Mm-hmm. So that's getting a little difficult, because my husband's like kind of like, well, you spend all your time laying in their bed with them. What about like our bedtime, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry,
Yeah.
So I try to like tiptoe out once the kids are asleep, but then he's kind of asleep. And so that we still don't get a lot of like alone time. But my parents, like I said, are in Pennsylvania. His parents are in Apple Valley, which is still kind of far. But there's been a few times, especially anniversaries, we ask them can you please watch the kids?
They come to your house.
And they'll come here, but this last time I actually asked, can I drop them off up at your house for the weekend?
Oh, nice.
So I made sure he knew. And it's hard to ask, but I only do it like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And they do it. And it's really sweet. I try to give them like way ahead of time, and then I have to give him way ahead of time because he works some weekends.
Yeah.
So I just need to like plan ahead for that. It needs to be like a big plan ahead.
Your kids are okay with the whole weekend?
Yeah, they do pretty good at the grandparents. They have fun there. My father-in-law, they live on 80 acres of property in Apple Valley.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's really nice. So my father-in-law takes them out on like the 4-wheeler, and they're just constantly active. So I think at the end of the day, they don't even realize they're not home or with mommy and daddy, and they just kind of like pass out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do okay with that. But my neighbor Cindy that I was just telling you about, she just told me that she went on care.com and found a new babysitter for date night. So she went on a date night like a few nights ago, and I was like, oh, tell me if like the babysitter works out. Maybe I'll use it for my
Did she tell you how much it cost?
Oh, I forgot to ask that. But
how much that cost?
Yeah, I've been on care.com, but I've never signed up or used one of the babysitters. But I remember seeing like rates, and like different babysitters have different rates. So like if they have more experience and whatnot, they might charge a little more.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about care.com, again, I haven't used it yet, but they do a full background check.
Cool.
So that part's kind of taken out of here. But she said that her and her husband, they call every single reference. And then they did interviews with them prior to picking. And I was like, wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like a legit job for them then. Like, yeah. I just thought it would be, I don't know what I thought, but that's cool.
Yeah, so that's an option. I want to try to use it, and I told her if that babysitter is great, maybe
you could use the same one.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just so weird about babysitters because I've only used family, really.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard, and there's so many weirdos.
And you never know, like someone like she was talking about, someone could look really good on paper and then you meet them and there's something off.
Oh,
Or I don't know, there's so many factors, and like you never know, somebody could put on an appearance for you and then and behind closed doors, maybe with your kids, could be a different person. So it just
she might need to buy a camera just to,
right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
So weird. Like, you could buy cheap ones these days, I think. Like they're like this big. But
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
the light comes on. I don't know. And you could just hook it up to your phone. But
you can tell them like, hey, we have indoor cameras, so then they know.
yeah, and I'm watching you.
I'm watching you
Or you
all.
just tell them and not even have a camera.
Like the ones that stick in teddy bears.
Yeah, just get a teddy bear. It doesn't even have to have a camera in it. Just be like, there's a camera in that teddy bear.
And my luck, my kids would take the teddy bear and like throw it somewhere, and it would just be like shoved in a corner, and I wouldn't be able to see anything.
That is so funny. Okay, so what if it's something that we haven't already talked about? What do you feel like is your biggest struggle with just being a stay-at-home mom with kids, or just being a mom?
So we haven't talked about it yet. It is patience.
Oh yeah, patience.
My biggest struggle with the kids especially is patience. Like I think I currently, even non-mom related, like even before kids, didn't have really good patience.
Mhm.
So with kids, it's even worse for
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
I have to literally talk myself into being patient for my kids, like on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And there's just sometimes where I lose it. Like I literally have had days where I'm like, oh my God, I hope the neighbors don't call the police because I just
Oh my
screamed so loud. Because I just like freaked out on them, and I'm like,
Yeah. You need to do that scream in the pillow trick. And then be like, Mommy's gonna be right back. Ah! Okay.
I know. And then I worry because I'm like, am I damaging my kids because I don't have patience?
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard. And I tell myself every day that I'll be better the next day. And then I do, but then eventually I break down again. So
Yeah.
I really need to work on that because I don't want that to rub off on them either. And I already see my kids yelling at each other, and I'm like, oh crap, like they totally heard me do it and they think it's okay, and it's not okay. And so in yelling, I need to stop yelling, like, but sometimes in the moment, that's just the thing that I think is most effective when it's actually not, because now my kids are doing this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, and then they're like, too loud, mommy. And then,
oh, yeah, I always see on my feed, like it will pop up and like it will say like how to talk to your kids, like say this, not that. I always see that. And so I don't know, maybe saying things differently, but I don't know too. Like my sister, I feel like she's done a really good job, but I feel like some kids are just difficult or just test you constantly. So,
and sometimes in the moment, you don't think like, oh, should I say this differently? I just react. Like I'm so like just reaction mode most of the time. So I have to like take a step back and realize like this probably isn't the best way to go about this, but it's hard. So patience is one of my biggest struggles.
Or if like you do yell, then like come back and like I'll talk to my daughter and be like, this is what happened. This is why I did that. Like, I'm sorry.
I explain it to them. I do. I stop and then I go up to them and I go, listen, this is like you. I'm like, this is what happened. This is why mommy reacted this way. And you know what? Mommy shouldn't have. And I'm sorry. And I'll try not to act that way again. Because when you start seeing it in them, then you're like, oh, that's not good. Like they shouldn't. Be doing that.
Or if I'm yelling at my son, like for something, and then my daughter's like looking at me like, oh my gosh, scared. I always look at her and I smile because she gets super freaked out with the yelling. So I always make sure I look at her and I smile, and she's like, oh, okay. And then she like will keep playing. So it's not like as bad for her. Not that I'm constantly yelling, but I know, trust me, I know I get it. So
I think we all have that point where we just yell. And we know we shouldn't, and we try not to, but it just comes out.
Yeah.
And I think like it's okay every once in a while if that's what you have to do to like get out but then you have to realize that that can't be a all the time thing. And then if you explain it to the kids that that's what happened, but
well, your kids are still young.
Right.
So.
And
And so I feel like it will get easier for you. So maybe it's just like two boys so close together, just constantly testing you. Yeah, it's like the two boys things for me is like anybody who has two kids but then two boys. I'm like,
my mother-in-law had 4 boys back to back.
That's insane. That's so crazy. I don't know. I mean, I guess at some point,
I don't know how she did. So my husband tells me this. He goes, listen, you need to stop with the yelling because eventually they're going to stop listening to you. And I said, what? And he's like, that's what my mother always did. And all of us just kind of toned her out after a while. And I was like, well, what would you rather have me do? And he's like, just talk sternly to them. And I'm like, I'll try. And I do try, but every once in a while the yelling, can come back.
Like to make me yell. That's funny. Well, that's good advice. Just the way you talk to them, even if it's not what you say, it's how you say it, I guess.
Right.
So
because they're watching you, they're taking in everything right now, and that's what's kind of scary, because then you have to really, when they were really little and we'd like curse by accident, we're like, oh no. And at the time they were like babies, and it's like, okay, but now it's like really like, oh no, because like my oldest, one time I said S-H-I-T, and then he goes, shit, and I'm like,
I know, you're like, of all the words that I said today, you say that one.
Yeah, and I'm like, don't repeat that. Don't repeat that. And then it's kind of hard to make them stop repeating that. So
yeah, especially after you told them no. They're like, oh, really? You don't want me to say that?
Like,
okay. Let me keep
like little sponges.
Yeah, they are. Like, I was like, Jesus. And Presley's like, Jesus. I'm
That's
like,
not as bad.
At least it's Jesus that you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else that you want to add to this?
Well, you put on there products I've tried it and products I offer. I don't offer anything currently, even though I got kind of addicted. For my other moms group, I started making bath bombs for a craft for them, and I got kind of addicted. My mother-in-law just got a book. Oh, I told her about the book and she bought the actual book. I got it on Kindle because it was really expensive, but it's like Make It Fizz. It's about fizzies and stuff, bath bombs. But I'm really excited about it because I'm starting to learn about it and how to like not make it perfectly round instead of like a flat bottom all stuff. But I was like, maybe I can make that into like a little side business eventually.
You should.
Like I still but
you
so
should
fun.
Because you were like, I'm gonna make you bath bombs, and I'm like, cool, like I'm excited. But then I got it and I was like, oh dang, like it had like the salt on top, and like I put it in the bath, and I was like, I've never taken a bath, just a bath. Like it makes you so soft, and it was like legit, and it fizzed. You should do that, seriously.
It was honestly, I felt like a little mad scientist chemist in my kitchen. I was like, this is so fun, and like I made some that turned out good. I made some that might have like squished a little, but anyway, it was so fun. I was like, I could do this. So I've been like researching more because I keep reading about it now, and I'm gonna try to make more soon here because it was really fun. So maybe in the future that'll be a product I offer. But products
I will be your number one customer.
Oh, thank you. So products I tried that I want to talk about though that you introduced. Well, I knew about essential oils and I knew that Young Living was like a really good one, and my mother-in-law always talked about it, but now I'm like obsessed. So I wanted to talk about that because you got me into that and I love it. And I literally have all my diffusers going today because I just wanted the house to smell like. One day my husband came home and he's like, smells like a spa in here. I'm like, oh, that's good. Like I want the house to smell like a spa.
Yeah.
And then my mother-in-law was telling me about Thieves, which we've been talking about, and she's like, put that on in the kids' room even when they're not here. And I have that amazing dino diffuser.
That's a good idea.
Thank you, Noelle. Noelle, right? Noelle or Riley?
Noelle.
Noelle. Okay, I was like, wait, is her first name Riley? Yeah. Anyway, that was I love that thing. And but the kids, okay, the only thing about that is my kids want to play with it. So when I first got it, they like knocked it over like 1,000 times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like. So I put it in there, I put it on while they're gone with Thieves because she's like, it like helps purify the air and stuff. So I was like, okay. And it's kind of cinnamony, but I like it. And some people are weird about cinnamon scents, but I do love the essential oils. And now that I'm making bath bombs.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
using the essential oils in there, and that's like a part of it that's just, I think, amazing.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
and
I was talking to you and I was like, I feel like when I talk to people, I I don't want to be like, I'm trying to sell you this. I'm like, I will give you all the money that I make. Like, you need these. Like, I don't want anything for it. Like, just use them.
just experience it. I know, because
Yeah.
it's really cool, and it helps. Like, and then like I bought the kids stuff
Hmm.
for in case they get colds and stuff, like snifflies, and I even got sleepy eyes. And then Noelle sent the one kid power with the diffuser, and it's just amazing.
Hmm.
And then oh, so speaking of the bath bomb, so I use the essential oils in the bath bomb, and then that's another good self-care thing to do for yourself, is to take a
Yes.
bath.
Yes. Using a bath, like the bath bombs. Taking a bath is one thing, but then using the bath bomb, I feel like just took it to a whole nother
Another
level. And
level.
it was like the greatest thing ever.
Oh, I gotta bring you more.
Dude, I will buy them from you. Just make them. Just
They're
make
so
them.
fun.
And I know people will buy them. They're
Oh,
so cute. I just love how you put the salt on it, and it was just like if I would have made them, I would have been like I told you when I made them, it fizzed, and then you're like, okay, we have to do all this stuff, and you're like researching, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even know that. I just got a recipe online and made it, and mine like fizzed when I was making it, and you're like, no.
yeah, because I was reading, and so the citric acid is what I think the mixture of that with baking soda is what makes it fizz. So I
Mhm.
read this thing that said add the citric acid last after you've added the little bit of liquid, like the oils and the you can do witch hazel, rubbing alcohol, or regular water. So I tried it with witch hazel. I guess some people are allergic to witch hazel, but anyway,
Oh.
you add the liquid to the baking soda and the Epsom salt and the cornstarch, stuff like that. Then you add the citric acid so it doesn't have that reaction because it's already kind of moist, but it's not like adding liquid to citric acid.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get the measurements just so, it can have the reaction.
Oh.
And what I was doing is I was bagging them prematurely. Like they need to dry for a good 24 hours.
Oh.
If you
Mm-hmm.
put them in the bag and you put a ribbon around them and like the moisture gets trapped, I think that's what made some of them expand a little. And I was like, oh,
Oh.
so there's so many things to learn.
Well, you know what my problem is too? I never read directions. I get the ingredients for everything, for meals,
Yeah.
anything that has directions. I never read it. I just am like all together, and I'm like, oh, that recipe sucks, but I never read it. And so maybe it said that. Now that I'm thinking about it, so maybe I don't know why I'm like that. Just too
You
much.
know, reading directions takes patience. I'm the same way. I don't have much patience.
See, you do
But
have some patience. Yeah, more than me.
when it's something I'm really interested in, like I can read a lot on it. Like my mother-in-law started keto,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like has this book for fat bombs. You have to get a certain amount of fat in.
Mm-hmm.
And she had it, but she wasn't making them. And I said, hey, why don't I try to make you some? So I actually was experienced. I've been doing bath bombs and fat bombs. So I made fat bombs for her. It was really fun, but I had to really read. And I actually, some things I like bypassed. Like it said softened butter, and I melted the butter. You know, with baking, it's like,
Oh.
but it still turned out okay. But like, I actually do enjoy reading like a recipe.
Oh.
So I guess I have patience for that a little bit.
Yeah, just the kids.
But I know what you
Constantly.
at you.
Yeah, the recipe is not constantly at you.
What someone told me though is like that's just I think you even say it's just a season. Like it's this
Yes.
portion of your life where they're not always going to be like that. Like just imagine when they're pre-teenagers and they just want to leave you and then you're like, "Wait, where's my hug?" So like I try to get in all of that. I try to like hold it in and hold
Hmm.
it dear. But after a full day of it, you're kind of like, "Okay, I need
Yeah.
some space."
Yeah. That's why when Matt comes home, he's like, I'm tired. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you got to drive home. You know,
That was
I'm like, I woke up this morning, started work. Actually, I was working all night, and then I woke up and I'm still working, and I'm going to work all night, you know, like.
I feel the same way. Like my husband gets home, he's tired from work, and I get that, and he wants to unwind, and I want him to have his unwind. But then at the same time, you know, as moms, you've been with the kids since they woke up till the time your husband got home. So at that time, you're kind of like, here, take the kids. But then your husband's like, wait, I want to like take my break. But you're like, I need a break too. And that's
Yeah,
where
it's so
like,
hard. And like
that's
they're
hard.
paying for everything, like as a stay-at-home mom. So you're like, you
You
feel
have
the
that guilt,
guilt.
the mom
It's,
guilt.
especially in the beginning. Oh my God, it's horrible.
I know.
So horrible.
I have that guilt all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting a little bit better, but it's still hard.
I know.
Now that the kids are easier to hang, like to be with, we were probably the same. It's probably easier to like pawn them off a little bit because it's not like a little baby.
Right.
Or like two little babies, you know, like when you first had yours.
Right.
So close together. So yeah.
It is definitely getting easier and better. And now my older one's talking a lot and my little one's starting to talk. But once they're talking, you can actually ask them because like my little one still isn't at the point. So he'll get frustrated because you don't understand what he's saying. But my older one, I'll tell my older one, can you go ask Owen what it is that he wants? Because he almost like talks kid baby to him.
Really?
I'm like, here, yeah, you go ask him. And then my younger son feels better about trying to tell my older son what's going on.
Oh.
Because sometimes I get frustrated. I'm just like, I don't know what you're saying. And then my older son will go over and he'll be like, oh, and what do you want? And then he'll come back to me and he'll be like, Mommy, he wants this, even if it's not what he really wants. But my younger son calms down a little. So I'm like, that's kind of cool because they have that relationship.
It's like they're twins and like they have their special language or something.
I know.
Twins are like that.
Yeah, have you ever seen that video of the twins like talking, like baby babbling talking, and they're actually like having a conversation? It's like it's on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, they're actually like they're babies, and they're like, rah, 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 rah. And then the other one's like, da, 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 da. And then you actually can tell that they're having a conversation.
Oh, it's how weird. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe YouTube baby babble twin chat or something.
Yeah. How funny.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, thank you so much. I learned a lot about you.
Aw.
I love this one. This was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to me.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was my pleasure. And I thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Well, enjoy your last couple minutes before you have to pick up your kid.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay in here for a minute before.
Okay. Well, have a great day. It was so fun chatting.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome. Bye.